What happens when you get a B-listed movie marathon that comes to life not once but a second time? Well, you get Slaughter Sinema 2, Universal Orlando's Halloween Horror Nights 2024 sequel haunted house to, you guessed it, Slaughter Sinema. Last August, before Halloween Horror Nights 33, I made an entire deep dive into the first Slaughter Sinema haunted house to give a refresher on what Slaughter Sinema was all about before the sequel house at Halloween Horror Nights Orlando opened for the haunt season. The deep dive I made on the original Slaughter Sinema will be linked in the video description, but I don't think it's a requirement to watch the video as there's only a few crossovers between the two haunted houses. We will go over all of this later in the video, but Universal Orlando was smart and made it so guests walking through Slaughter Sinema 2 didn't need to have experienced Slaughter Sinema 1 to understand the plot. In both haunted houses, guests started at the Cary Drive-In where the B-listed movie trailers are playing on the big screen, followed by walking into a snack bar and then getting transformed into each B-listed movie featured in the house. Unlike most Halloween Horror Nights announcements, Slaughter Sinema 2 was revealed to a live audience at Spooky Empire 2024, which is one of the largest horror and Halloween conventions in the nation. Ramon, who is a show director on the creative development team at Universal, cuts off the panel to make an announcement to the crowd, which would end up being Slaughter Sinema 2. Heavy metal music played in the background when a heavy metal hell rocker walked out. An announcer voice plays saying the movie where the heavy metal hell rocker is from, Heavy Metal Hell 3D, followed by the announcer saying all hell is breaking loose. Slaughter Sinema 2 would return to the same location as the original Slaughter Sinema 1. Both haunted houses were in Sprung Tent 2, which is located in the back area of Universal Studios Florida near the Men in Black Alien Attack ride. The Slaughter Sinema 2 queue started next to the Coke freestyle machines in the World Expo section of the park. Slaughter Sinema 2 features 8 B-listed films. This would be a loss of 2 films versus the first Slaughter Sinema house, which featured 10 films. The films in Slaughter Sinema 2 were tributes to past Universal Orlando attractions and celebrations at the parks such as Mardi Gras, which in retrospective makes a lot of sense, as when I was experiencing this house last year, I was curious as to why there were multiple holiday themed movies in the haunted house. Next, we are going to go over each film featured in Slaughter Sinema 2. The Mardi Gras Murderers, a film inspired by the Universal Orlando Mardi Gras event, where a young couple is staying at the Jester Hotel with the parade view from their hotel balcony. At this hotel though, the Jester isn't just a theme, it's a real-life evil Jester that is out for blood and ruins the couple's night. Heavy Metal Hell 3D, a film that's supposedly inspired by the Rock the Universe event that occurs every January at Universal Orlando. I guess the concert aspect is loosely related, but I don't know if I agree with this since the film is about metal, not Christian rock. The film is about an urban myth where playing a record backwards would share a hidden message coming to life and unleashing hell into the world. Killer Kringles, which is inspired by Universal Orlando's Christmas events. The film is about how everyone in the North Pole eats, but it's very dark and twisted. In Killer Kringles, Santa goes out and captures the naughty boys and girls and then slaughters them to feed them to everyone working at Santa's workshop. Night of the Undead Clowns is a film not based on any Universal event or past attraction. Rather, it's what I would call a spin-off of another Halloween Horror Nights haunted house, Bugs Eaten Alive. In the Night of the Dead Clowns film, the pesticide company from Bugs Eaten Alive dumps their waste unknowingly into a clown graveyard due to not being able to find a good landfill. The clowns wake up from the waste dumping and are now attacking guests walking through the haunted house. I did make a deep dive on the Bugs Eaten Alive haunted house. You should check it out after this video. I will leave a link in the description. Hatchet and Chains, Demon Bounty Hunters. This film is supposed to be inspired by the third Back to the Future film, which I think is a stretch. Also, side note, Back to the Future Part 3 is my least favorite part in the trilogy. Not sure if that's an unpopular opinion, let me know if this is a bad take in the comments. The film takes place in the Wild West, but there's a demon infestation. There's a demon hunter in the Wild West who, alongside a demon who wants to do good for the world, tries to stop all the demons from slaughtering everyone else. I have to say, this is the most B-movie type plot I've heard of. The randomness of this all just screams B-listed film. Blood and Chum. This film is inspired by the defunct Jaws ride that was once at Universal Studios Florida. For once, I actually somewhat agree with this. Blood and Chum is definitely inspired by Jaws from the shark standpoint, but the camp part screams Friday the 13th. The film is about a summer camp that's located on a freshwater lake, but there's a saltwater shark that lives in the waters of the lake and is attacking campers. Mummy Strippers Unwrapped is a film about the the Mummy ride, and I'm guessing also the Universal Classic Mummy Monster. Regardless, the film is about a club owner who stole tombs from an Egyptian museum as decor for their strip club. They later find out that the decor is real and not a prop, housing real mummies inside of the tombs. The mummies make a deal with the club owner where they drain the souls of the club goers in exchange for their own safety. The final film is Zyborgs, which is about humans in the future finding a planet named RT-403. On this planet, there is a mining colony that has discovered a new substance. This substance ends up being able to corrupt humans. The humans are now at war against the bodies who were corrupted. These bodies are known as Zyborgs. If you are enjoying this video so far, consider giving it a like as it helps support the channel a ton. Now let's get on to the walkthrough of Slaughter Sinema 2. The walkthrough starts similar to the original Slaughter Sinema haunted house. Guests pass by the Cary drive-in with 2 cars parked and a theater screen playing a loop of the previews for the movies inside the house. The first room in the house is the snack bar, where 2 movie posters that are not featured in the haunted house are hanging up: Midnight Mississippi and The Wayward Wicked. The snack bar itself seems to be closed, but leftover popcorn and condiments are left laying out. The format of Slaughter Sinema 2 is the exact same as Slaughter Sinema 1, where each film has a transitional room where guests can see the movie poster before entering the actual movie room. The first film in the haunted house is The Mardi Gras Murderers. Guests are transformed into the Jester Motel hallway and enter a young couple's hotel room. The boyfriend is seen puking all over the motel floor after a night of drinking. On the motel room balcony, a jester is seen popping out with a sword, taunting guests walking by. Behind the jester is the girlfriend who has unfortunately been attacked by the jester, indicated by a sword stabbing through her back. The next film is Heavy Metal Hell 3D, and this film features 2 rooms. The first room is a teenager's bedroom that's a complete mess. The entrance to the second room is the teen's bed that's split down the middle. Guests enter the hellscape where multiple heavy metal hell rockers are seen performing. The first one on the right was seen at the Slaughter Sinema 2 announcement, who pops out with a chainsaw. The center heavy metal hell rocker is on the mini stage rocking out with their guitar. The final rocker pops out at the end of the room as guests walk on to the next movie transition room to scare them. Killer Kringles is next, and it starts with the silhouette of 2 elves feasting on the freshly acquired naughty list. This film idea is just insane the more you think about it. Anyway, guests are greeted by Santa Claus, who pops out while saying to ho 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 still as he throws his axe. Across from him is Mrs. Claus, who says excitedly that the next course is hot off the naughty list. Next to Mrs. Claus is the present bag. It appears to be moving, implying that there's someone on the naughty list trapped inside. On the other side of the room is a toy working table with a misbehaving victim. An elf then rushes out to eat the victim for dinner. The next room is Night of the Undead Clowns. Guests are transformed underneath a clown graveyard. While walking through, on the right, a skeleton clown pops out from behind the curtain. In the depths of the graveyard, toxic waste barrels are seen spilling out a glowing green substance, implying that the clowns have been exposed to toxic waste. In the middle of the room, a second skeleton clown jumps out at guests, but this time it's from a more obvious spot. This scare spot has 2 windows, allowing the scare actor to scare guests walking by twice. After walking through Night of the Undead Clowns, Hatchet and Chain's Demon Bounty Hunters is next. The film takes guests into an old western saloon. Inside, there's a plethora of old sepia photos. More interesting though is the depth perception room, which shows a demon hunter dragging a demon with a chain. This isn't clear to the guest until later on in the room, but after passing the window, a demon runs out from the side. Facing guests is who I believe is the demon that's trying to help the demon hunter in the film. They pop out with an axe. After this, another angle of the depth perspective hole is seen twice, showing guests that the demon hunter has captured the demon with a chain. Next is Blood and Chum. This room takes guests underwater, and immediately walking in, a female swimmer jumps out from behind. This room is one of the smaller rooms, but to make up for it, there's a pretty impressive shark puppet that is pushed out with a orange flashing light above it to signal the danger is approaching. Mummy Strippers Unwrapped is the next film, and it takes guests into a strip club, but with a mummy dancing. This character is used as a distraction though for another mummy who pops out at guests as they exit the room. The final room is Zyborgs, and guests get blasted by fog from the dead Zyborg as they walk in. Following this, another Zyborg jumps out at guests. Towards the end of the room, there's another Zyborg above the platform. This Zyborg is just there to distract as the final Zyborg pops out from the side as guests exit the room. As mentioned in the start of the video, a few films from the first Slaughter Sinema house are featured in the sequel. In the final room, guests pass by advertisements from Slaughter Sinema 1 for Pumpkin Guts, The Cult of the Beast Baby, and Amazon Cannibals from Planet Hell. The Cult of the Beast Baby advertisements is a drop door that reveals the Beast Baby, and right after Gordy from Pumpkin Guts jumps out to scare guests. The house ends after guests pass the Amazon Cannibals from Hell cardboard cutout. What are your thoughts on Slaughter Sinema 2, and do you think it lived up to the original Slaughter Sinema haunted house? Although I did enjoy the haunted house, house, I do believe that the sequel didn't have the same charm as the original. Something I do want to see though is a standalone house from one of the Slaughter Sinema films. Imagine being able to walk through the entirety of Killer Kringle's and seeing the entire process of Santa with people on the naughty list. If you enjoyed this video, you should watch my deep dive on the 2017 Scare Zone Invasion, where aliens invaded the San Francisco section of the park at Universal Studios Florida. Thank you for watching.